I'd say heritage just means like your culture and traditions, whether that's, from your nationality or just your own family or the place that you grew up. Doesn't necessarily have to be like a genetic thing even. Just really, where you come from, your roots, your culture and your traditions.
Heritage means knowing about your background, your culture, not just like knowing like where your family came from, but also like learning, of culture norms or like how like you act at home versus act at school. It's very different. Or even sometimes the way you speak is part of your heritage. And it's so interesting because when I was in West Philly, the slang they use there is very different from the slang they use in Chinatown. Yep, like for example, they talk about like African American slang is very different from, kids in Chinatown slang.
Well, I feel very close to my heritage. It's always been talked about in my family. And so it's a deep sense of connection, I think. And I'm really interested in other people's heritages and what it means to them. So it's important to me, and I spend time passing it on to my children and grandchildren.
I may only be one person, but now I had the opportunity to serve 104 million Filipinos. And I knew that I was doing this para sa Pilipinas. Inside each and every one of us is a king or a queen with the ability to conquer the universe, whatever that may be for you. But we must first conquer ourselves, conquer what others perceive of us, and finally conquer with a purpose. To conquer our dreams. Philippines, I will forever raise our flag.
Sarangani Province, Philippines, the 5-time world champion, currently recognized as pound for pound, the best fighter in the world.
I think moms are gonna stop playing the fight over and over again every single morning.
I'm pretty sure that tape is stuck in the VHS system. Plus, it's supposed to inspire us, just like Filipino, which is
a symbol of power first brought to the Philippines by Spain. Fuck Spain.
Right.
Does that say Pinay?
Yes, which came from
Filipinos in Hawaii who were tired of Americans calling them confusing names because Americans were too dumb and stupid to say Filipino.
And we're from
Naga City, no we never eat dog, and we'll beat anyone in karaoke. Karaoke isn't like a win-lose kind of game though.
Yes it is. What are you talking about? Ninang Lydia would kill you for that one. Now Mom said she might have to go to work tonight, so she told me to make sure that you eat before you leave. Apparently you haven't been eating breakfast or something?
Yeah,
for good luck.
Good morning, students, and welcome to the first day of our annual Asian American Heritage Month celebrations. Asian Americans have done so much for our country. Today's presentation will be given by Princess Mendoza, who is representing the Philippines. Woohoo!
Okay, hi guys. I'm Princess, and I'm here to talk to you about my home country, the Philippines. The Philippines is a country in the Pacific, which makes up about 7,000 islands.
This is boring, yo. Sleep.
The Philippines was also colonized by Spain in 1512, I think, and they basically brought over a bunch of clothes and fabrics that they preferred us using, which is actually where my top comes from. It's called a Filipiniana, and they actually make these in dresses too, but they're like crazy expensive because they're made out of silk.
Wait, so they were just like giving you silk for free?
That's really lucky.
Yeah, but it was still to like colonize us. It's like a whole thing. But now Filipinos are reclaiming it.
Wait.
And
Are you the type of Asian that eats dog?
no.
Please don't eat my dog. I love her.
Wait, I heard they eat live baby birds.
They're not live, actually. I've never had it, but balut is actually a delicacy in lots of parts of Asia. And we're really good at karaoke. We win it every time.
Karaoke's not a win-lose game. Oh.
Gagawang magaputing tayo.
That was brutal.
Yeah, you're telling me. You excited for yours?
Not really. I actually don't know anything about China. They asked me to do this because my grandfather was half Chinese, but I barely even knew the guy. I'm Filipino too.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty sure most of my class thinks I'm full Chinese, and I try to correct them, but...
They get distracted by dog eating and balut. Yeah.
How are they even gonna turn this into like a week-long thing? Actors who can even present.
Oh, don't you worry. I hear Miss Free Silk in there also has a half Chinese grandfather, so I'm sure they already scouted her.
I'm Omar, by the way.
Princess.
Hey, wanna go to the Asian food market with me after school today? My mom wants sinigang.
And the lady there makes the best ones in all of Philadelphia. Yeah, sure.
Cool. Not that there's much competition. There's like no Filipinos in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we are kind of by default the capital of the great and Manny Pacquiao of Philadelphia.
My middle name is Emmanuel.
And my mom did nail a picture of his universe to the wall that I'm never allowed to take down.
No, really?
So, I do think it's important to know your culture because there are times when not knowing part of my culture has made me feel confused or lost my life. So, for a little background, I am adopted from China, so my parents aren't Chinese, so not knowing a lot about certain things about Chinese culture makes me feel disconnected. And I think one of the ways that I really felt connected was finding a community of other people who were Chinese adoptees, and then we talk about how we feel disconnected from Chinese Americans and how they're different, or Chinese who are born in China and then move to America because they have different experiences from us.
I think it's really important just to know where you came from, the people that raised you and came before you, what their traditions and what their cultures were, and to carry those things on for your own kids or your nieces and nephews or whoever. Those are the things that make us all unique and individual, and we got to hold on to those things and celebrate those in ourselves and in each other, everybody around us.
I feel that it's fun, that it's, I get intrigued thinking about people in my history and who they are, why they did what they did, why they moved where they moved. All of that makes me think about my life.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Dragon, and I'm a producer here at From Every Angle, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make my personal favorite Filipino food, pancit. So we are going to start with the rice sticks. Pancit is basically this it's what I like to call our version of lo mein. It's noodles and a bunch of vegetables and stuff, but today I'm going to be using the bihon noodles, which are the thinnest ones. It's the best kind. There's 3 different kinds of pancit, but if you're gonna get one, try the bihon. It's the best one. So they are a little bit hard, so we're gonna have to soak them in water for a little. And then we're just gonna set those in there. So the reason that I wanted to make pancit for this episode is because it is one of my favorite foods of all time, first of all, and it's also one of my favorite Filipino foods of all time. And it really was my introduction into Filipino culture and that side of my family because it's the first dish that I ever tried. And when I was a kid, it was like really special to me because it was like my go-to like birthday dinner, because my mom would make it like every year on my birthday, and it was like a whole big production in order to make it, so it was like only done a couple times a year. And she would like stay up all night on the 28th, my birthday is the 29th. She would stay up all night on the 28th, the night before, trying to like make sure that it was all prepped and ready and like just made so that I could have pensit first thing in the morning. And the reason that it's a big deal as like a birthday food is because pensit actually symbolizes good luck and long life, and that's why the long rice noodles. So basically every year I would just like sit down and eat it with my mom, and it was like her kind of bringing me into a new year with like a bunch of good luck. And that kind of symbolizes what being Filipino really is all about for me, because a big part of our culture is like resilience and being happy in spite of anything else and just finding the joy in things, and that's what pensit feels like to me. As I said earlier, this isn't usually a much longer process as I've seen it practiced, and that's because well, my mom personally, and what a lot of Filipino people would like to do, is actually like hand chop all of the vegetables and all of the ingredients and everything, and so that's what takes like really long, and it's like a super choreographed thing, and it's like don't interrupt them while they're doing it. Yeah, it takes like a whole night and some change, but just for convenience, because I am a busy little college student, I got to buy a lot of the stuff like pre-diced, pre-chopped up and everything, so it makes the whole process a little bit easier, and it still works because it's all the same ingredients. So if you ever want to make pensit after this and you're like in a bit of a rush, just know that you can buy it from your local grocery store, all like ready for you. Another reason that I wanted to make pensit today was because, as I mentioned earlier, this was the first Filipino dish that I ever tried, and so it was kind of like my introduction to that culture. And in my life, it's also served as other people's introduction to my culture, because going along with it being my birthday meal and everything, when I was in elementary school, you know how your parents were supposed to like bring cupcakes or something for your class whenever it was your birthday? So every year my mom would bring like a cake, and then she would also bring pensit, and I remember every year, like whenever my birthday was coming up, all my classmates and my friends would tell me that they're so excited because they love my mom's food and they're so excited to eat pensit, and it becomes beloved by like anyone that eats it, and it made me feel like my classmates and my friends really wanted to like share this part of my life with me, and that was really important to me as a like young elementary school kid. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia, where they have like a pretty decently sized Filipino population. Yeah, so I was fortunate to grow up in like a kind of place where I had that sense of community, and I had people around that were my family and that looked like me and that made the same kind of food as me and that appreciated all this kind of stuff. And I've grown to really appreciate all the different ingredients, no matter how picky of an eater I may be. I know I like can appreciate that they all add their own flavor to the food, and they make pensit what it is, and it makes it even more delicious and special. Since moving away and going to college, coming to Philly, a place that doesn't exactly have the same amount of Filipino population, it's been very important to me to like still keep my heritage an important and integral part of my life, and like my daily, like just my daily life, and like how I approach the world and how the world sees me. And so I'm really excited to do things like make this pensit for you guys and just kind of share this with you like I used to do as a kid with all of my classmates. I'm going to set this for a second and grab all of our sauces. My favorite seasoning that we had in the house, which is the Kikkoman soy sauce. I'll be honest, I tried to eat this like by itself, and it's not good by itself as like a dipping sauce,
And so I was a little disappointed, but it is amazing on other things. So still a big staple, still important to the flavor. And then we're gonna add in some fish sauce, which is coming out really, really slowly, unfortunately. But it's gonna be 1 tablespoon of each of these sauces in order to make the flavor that goes into the pancit. Just add a little more. It's another thing with all of the ingredients, you can kind of make your own take on it once you've kind of figured out how to do it. For example, like if someone wants more like garlicky tasting it, you can obviously adjust it or whatever. Yeah, Filipino people who make it don't really have like any specific measurements. They don't really read recipes while we make food. It's just kind of like whatever you're feeling, whatever strikes you, whatever feels right. Just gonna mix this up and cook this for about a minute until it's all done. And we're gonna add in some salt and pepper. I was told once that you just put as much salt in as you can. I used to think that it like wasn't that much that you should put in because I didn't want my food to turn out super salty and like gross like that, but apparently you're supposed to put a lot of salt in things like this, so we're doing it. I'm just gonna dip in a little bit more sauce, make it a little bit more brown because you're gonna want kind of a more rich brown color, and then we will be done. Again, just however much you feel. Hurrying up to do this fast because these, the rice noodles are very fragile, so you don't want to like burn them or anything. Another tip that I've heard is when you're doing this, if the noodles are still a little bit hard, something that you can use instead of the spatula, which might be a little more harsh, is if you have like cooking chopsticks, so the really long ones, they're really helpful for this kind of stuff. But I only have the basics in my apartment because, again, I am a college student that doesn't cook very often. But yeah, so this is more of the color that you want. You want it to be like a good little brown, really make it look like this is what the noodles came like. And just mix all the other stuff up in there. And we are pretty much done. This is our finished product of pancit, and just mix it up a little more for you. And yeah, this is pancit. And last but not least, something that I actually did before we started filming, you always have to make sure that you have your freshly steamed rice. So I have that right here and ready. And we're just gonna do a little taste test. Hey, yeah, so it's time to taste test our pancit, but first, of course, we have to get some rice. Fun fact, when I first was getting ready to move out, the first thing my mom bought me was this rice cooker because she was like, you've been eating rice for 3 meals a day for your entire life. You need to have a rice cooker. And also, sorry Mom, I lost the little cup that you're supposed to use to measure the water, so I've been kind of eyeballing it, but I've been doing a good job, so maybe I don't even need anything like that. Maybe my just Filipino cooking instincts are like kicking in. Right, so this is our finished product. This is pancit over rice, my favorite meal for my entire life. And let's give it a little taste. Everything is like so crazy hot. It just came off the stove or something. Yep, that's pancit.
So I live in West Philly, which is very different from Chinatown. So in West Philly, I've seen a lot of like Muslim culture. I see a lot of also West African culture. I've had the opportunity to try a lot of West African food, which has been great. But there's also like, I've also seen some Vietnamese food, and that's like just shows diversity of like West Philadelphia.
I mean, right here, we're in Chinatown, so you've got, you know, the Asian American community right here. We're also really close to the neighborhood, which, you know, the LGBT community has a lot of like, you know, queer spaces, gay bars and things like that up there. And yeah, I mean, every city really has, you know, their different pockets where people of different nationalities and cultures have kind of settled and made themselves at home.
I'm very interested in global cultures. My work was in global education. And so I walk all over Philadelphia and spend time in all sorts of neighborhoods. We're standing here in Chinatown. I love Chinatown. I think it's interesting. I'm grateful to see all these families come down here. I love the food, and I think it enhances us all. I go to the Italian market almost every week, and I love that that old Italian culture has been there for so long.
This month on The Real Princesses of Center City.
And done! Guess who just finished writing the first TV show about an ABC girl in Philly?
So, what does ABC stand for exactly?
Oh, it means American Born Chinese, like me. So, really exciting news. I finally submitted my screenwriting thesis, which I'm really proud of. It's about a Chinese American girl like me who moves to Philly and starts to feel kind of lost until she discovers Chinatown and finally starts to find her sense of belonging. Totally not inspired by real life events. I'm kind of nervous though. We have to meet with our thesis professor to get in-person feedback, and let's just say that she hasn't been the best.
The professor is a total jabroni. Poor Lainey hasn't gotten any good, non-racist feedback on her work in 4 years.
Okay, so you didn't hear this from me, but this professor is known throughout all of Philly as the crazy one.
You are that bitch. Nothing can stop you. Listen to Bretman Rock. You are that bitch. Nothing can stop you. You are that bitch. Nothing can stop you.
Hey.
So, how are you?
Remember, if you need me to show that professor who's boss, I'm here.
That will not be necessary. I have been preparing myself. I've been doing my affirmations, I know how to stand up for myself, and I know not to take anything she says too seriously.
That's right, because you are a strong, powerful ABC queen.
Alrighty. Welcome to your critique of your senior thesis. Lainey, I hope you've had a very rewarding semester working on this, and got some friends here today?
Yeah, they are here for moral support because they know how personal and important this project is for me.
Alright, well, guess I'll try not to say anything that'll get me fired. Am I right? Well, look, I just want to start by saying congratulations on getting this done. I know it's been a bit tough as we've butt heads on quite a lot of stuff along the way, so congrats. My biggest concern, however, is still the believability.
I'm sorry?
Don't get me wrong, you've created a beautiful, vibrant story that I honestly wish I could see in real life.
I mean, you can. Chinatown is just...
And with such amazing characters, too. I mean, they're so kind and welcoming, and I love that. Just finding it a little hard to picture.
Oh, well, if you look at the first page, that is actually what Chinatowns are for. They are little pockets developed in cities to create a beautiful and vibrant safe haven for Asian people to feel welcome and at home. So they don't have to worry about being too Asian or not Asian enough. That's really what I want to focus on with this project.
Okay. Well, look, all I'm saying is that someone like me isn't going to get all this. Maybe if you just play up that culture a bit and really perform it, then it'll be better. There's a reason films like Rush Hour are so successful. Do something like that.
Well, if that'll be all, then we will just be on our way.
Yeah. Next!
So, what are you doing? Oh. Hello? Student services? Yeah, I would like to report a professor. Yeah, the crazy one.
We are the real princesses of Center City.
Guys, she got fired! First off, I think building a sports center around here, like an arena, like they're planning on doing, would really bring up the prices of rent and housing, which would affect a lot of people who live in Chinatown who have, probably a considerably lower rent than having an arena would be. And that could push a lot of
community out of this area. And it's unfortunate that that's happened to a lot of other areas. Like, for example, in DC, I've been to DC's Chinatown. It's a very small Chinatown, and they used to have a larger one, but because they have a sports arena too around there, they have a really small Chinatown community.
You know, I don't know the answer to that. But I don't want it to. I want this neighborhood to remain vibrant, and I'm really glad that they are making the point, because Chinatown has been pushed around a lot. I think they should give the Roundhouse and the land next to the Roundhouse to Chinatown. And if you walk through Chinatown and you go to Franklin Square, that's part of this neighborhood. And so giving them that piece of land will be very important. I do think the fashion district has been a bust. And I think the Chinese neighborhood is smart to push back. They need to get some real concessions if this arena is going to come.
Well, that's it for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much going to steamroll over whatever's here right now, right? I think it's all these small businesses that you see that are like Asian American owned. A lot of these are going to be gone and replaced with, like, you know, McDonald's or whatever for the people coming from out of town for the stadium. And more than that too, I think it's just gonna plow over pretty much all the people that live here right now are going to be priced out, or they're going to want to leave because there's different people coming in from out of town just overrun the area with litter and garbage and drunkenness and, you know, who knows what else.
Destroying Chinatown will destroy lives. I love the 76ers, but I don't want the arena to be next to Chinatown. So true. We are counting on you to protect our neighborhood. The messages from facts, grown-ups, and children who spend the better part of their day in Chinatown are inspiration. They remind us what we can do and make together. Fact students are not alone in standing up for and with neighbors, acting on an obligation to take care of our world. And to show you, we have prepared a No Arena fashion show.
Welcome to the No Arena fashion show, truly for and from the people. Each one of these designs is bedecked with some of the thousands of postcards written by Philadelphians. So today we are wearing our hearts on our sleeves, and our sleeves say that no arena belongs in Chinatown. Yes, show us what you've got going on there. Yes. This is so versatile and multi-use, very unlike the proposed arena. Yes.
This is
I can't wait to hear.
Jamie Gaultier, the thing about mistakes is that if you have to make them, you can at least avoid them in the future. Yet Chinatown keeps getting other people's mistakes dropped on it. The Vine Street Expressway, the gallery, are having to waste its time avoiding them, as the stadium and the casino. This time, save everybody time and effort. Please join us in opposing the arena in Chinatown. Don't sacrifice the culture in Chinatown for corporate athletics. This is not what we need.
Let's give it up for Gasol. Give her a hand. She is wearing a beautiful flowing dress that is 4% rayon and 96% opposed to the arena. There we go. There are no dead zones in this design, ladies and gentlemen.
A new arena would be a travesty that would erase culture, history, and a core piece of what makes Philly, Philly, while wasting money and resources that are desperately needed elsewhere. This is an obvious ploy to line the pockets of a handful of the wealthy under the guise of growth. Don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. Show off that piece. Yes. That headpiece is almost as huge as the opposition to billionaire development.
If you're in favor of this project, you need to tell us to our faces.
That's right. Yes.
And if you oppose this arena, you need to stand with us and make your voice loud.